oil.
I can get down with that. Absolutely. It's like where you get like the your friggin' eyes are burning from the fumes and stuff like that at the drag strip and shit like that. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. We're just talking about huffing gas on here. Figured it was a good way to start the show. Fluff likes the high octane racing fuel. I'm more of a diesel huffer myself. G-Bay, what do you like? Are you regular? Are you high octane? What do you?
I got two-stroke machines and I was rocking the diesel truck today. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. G-Bay needs the 2-stroke, so he wants the high octane, so he can keep that shit cracked wide open. Well, but since we're here, we're doing a show. Let's hit the music. Banana farmer.
Never have a fear of being alive. Forget about the past, the future won't last. Pretend that these stones were not meant to be thrown.
What up, Booby?
If I ever get out of this house alive, gonna set the whole goddamn place on fire.
Yeah, Tuesday night Toke in the house. Jimmy will be here shortly. The last message I got from him about 5 minutes ago was just saying he, I believe, along the lines, he needs to feed the 4-legged wonder mutt, and then he'll be right on with us. So we get how that is. That's like G-Bay's got to always feed his friggin'. He's got 8 legs worth of wonder friggin' awesome dogs friggin' to take care of before the show. So he knows what that's up. All us animal lovers, you know how it is. We're going to have a wicked conversation when that man gets here, though. So I better get into serious mode. Let's do this.
We should do a dab.
Right off the bat.
Up, I know, but the guest, or not the guest, the chat. There.
Fuck yeah, I'm down with that. Okay, before we forget, because we are so freaking terrible at this, let's do the first dab for all of our Patreon supporters. We've been trying to get back in the habit of it, but I'm looking at the video queued up right now. Patreon supporters, this one's for you. Thank you all so much.
Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, you invited everyone you knew. You would see the biggest gift would be for me if the hardest catch would say thank you for being a friend. Uh-oh. My computer just froze. Oh, we're good. It's like, shit, it's going to be a black screen for the rest of the night. Someone fix it quick.
It was probably not enjoying the singing like the rest of you.
I know.
It was all like, don't do it anymore, bro. If you keep this up,
this is the great thing, though. Dan, I bait them in with the promise of Jimmy Toucan and friends and a great conversation. And they're like, oh, hot shit. We're showing up for that because that's going to be a great time. And it is. But you know what? We purposely tell them not to show up until 15 minutes into the show so that y'all have to listen to me singing. So it's, this is how my rap career is going to take form right here, is forcing y'all to listen to my fucking horse shit for, 15 minutes every show for guests.
That's how that's going to work, huh? That's how the rap career, the Great Caribou just gets started, huh?
Well, it's going to be a forced thing because ain't nobody going to listen to me willingly. So
like, what's your rap name?
I haven't thought about this. I was thinking like MC Brad.
Now, hold on. Like the great Grandmaster B would say. I mean, the first thing you have to have is the catchy name, and then everything else comes after. So you've already fucked up. You got to have the name first, bud.
I was worried. I was trying to have like quality flow.
No, that's fucking backwards. No, you got to have the bullshit first, and then the quality flow.
That would explain the state of rap music these days. Good time. Yeah, he'll be here in a bit there, Roseville. He's just feeding the dog. He'll be on here shortly. How you doing, brother? I haven't talked to you in a hot minute. What's everybody smoking on? I'm holding up some red Lebanese hash right now. I'm gonna start puffing on that. It's gonna be my thing.
Oh, I'll be smoking some more of like the probably the grapple fritter, the lobster's cut of grapple fritter, and then I've been eating some lobster's fucking TH Cheez-Its. These things are fucking wicked. So I'm gonna sit here and mow on these, and then for dabs, probably gonna be rolling with fucking Dan's fucking Bam from Booth Fest. So that's how I'm rolling this evening.
You just covered smoke, dabs, and munchies like right all off the fucking hop there.
Did you get all the dabs? Who got all the little jars? Did you get most of them? Did you get the GG4? Super fucking squish?
Yeah. My kid's a big fan of GG4, so he was so happy to fucking see that. He's like, oh.
That felt good because, like, honestly, I'd never pressed. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? There's a jar full of weed. Go pick one, right? But I never used a press like that. So for me, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Went in there and mopped the floor with y'all. Yeah. It's not me. It was the press and the weed. I operated the handle, so big whoop, right? Fucking. But yeah, it worked out. I didn't even end up dabbing any.
What?
Well, there's just so much flour everywhere. It was just like joints.
I feel like if you're pressing dabs and not trying it though, that should be like
it was kind of
like
dumb.
break out the cat of nine tails, floggable offense type stuff.
I'll take it.
Well. But see, now you also would probably think at the pace at which these tabs are going to disappear are not appropriate either. But I'm not going to go through these fuckers very fast either.
Yeah,
this is true. What's going on, man?
How you doing, fellas?
Hey, cheers.
Doing good. Shit, you weren't lying when you said you were getting the fire going on.
Yeah, man.
See that flickering up behind you, right? Fuck yeah.
You do it.
There you go. It's beautiful. Actually, you might even be able to see a little bit of the sky out there. Full moon tonight, boys. Wow.
Did you guys catch any of the Northern Lights last night, anyone? I've seen people on social media posting up. I'm not sure if it was all just kind of mostly up northern in Canada here, or some of y'all down in the south got some.
No, I don't think we got any. It does come down this way occasionally, though. Once in a great while, you could see them from here.
You saw them in PA last month from the mountains, from the northern.
Oh, right on.
Last month they flashed. Yeah.
Right on.
So I just transplant. Oh, Fuck's got the GG4 dabs. Fuck yeah, gonna get effed up. I just transplanted 8 of your Liliths there yesterday into 2-gallon pots. We're gonna run them in those and see how they do. Now I germinated those like I think the day after those seeds showed up, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, hot shit!" You know how we all know how it is when you get new seeds in the mail. And I was like working out of town, and they were still pretty small sprouts. They were only like maybe 2 weeks old, if that. I kind of gave them a bit of fucking nutrients, see if I could get them to boost a little faster while I was out of town. And completely fucked those things up. It was like 4 to 6 weeks where I was like, God damn, should I even? And now I finally got these things going, and they're starting to go all beastly on me and just really start taking off. Looking forward to it now.
Right on. 2 gallons, right? Should be plenty.
Yeah, I'm running three bottle nutrient solution for this go around. Just I've got it sitting there, might as well use it.
Right on. You're growing in like cocoa or something like that?
100%, yeah. Yeah, just
Right on.
get as many feedings in there as I can. There's a couple other things we're gonna run too, and just I got rid of everything around the last time that we had you on there and started all fresh again. And so which means there's been nothing in bloom or getting cropped out for a good while now. So I can knock off an extra couple weeks of veg if I'm using bottles, so as opposed to
Right.
organics.
Hell yeah. Right on, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the results. They are some of my favorites, buddy.
Yeah.
We got now. My buddy just rolled in from Pittsburgh, and I took him around for a little tour and a little smell test, and yeah, there's a couple of just really loud, wicked. There's the juicy fruit from the Thai, and there's a little spice to them from the Vietnamese, and then the turpentine kind of comes through a little bit, So
in the middle garden here, in the fenced in one, not in the back.
And the row there, murderer's row there, in between the greenhouse and the courtyard.
No, in the fucking 4-wall.
Inside the courtyard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was Lilith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hammer.
Yeah. See? Yeah, man. They're going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to finish unreal.
But so far, from what I'm looking at in there, I've got at least 3 basic phenotypes in there with variations within them. But there's like a short, bushy as shit one that kind of looks like a pom-pom. Right. And then you got a kind of a more medium and then a little bit taller, stretchy one. Nothing overly thin-leafed yet, but it's always fun to just kind of look and see what are we going to find in here.
Oh, sure. And a lot of times they'll thin out even more once you get them into flower. They'll thin out even more.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Sounds like you got one of the old Mother Ganny types to pop out of there. The old Mother Ganny, or maybe like the Sensi Star you're seeing in that short squatty one.
Yeah, there seems like there's 2 of them. There was one that I actually ended up just getting rid of. It was small, like way smaller, and just would not get big on me there. And it was almost like a re-vegged plant at a certain point. And like I love mutants and stuff like that. And anything weird, I'll grow it out just to see what happens, because I'm a gardener and I just like to see what happens. But playing the numbers game at the moment, I'm just like, well, I can have this one and play with it, or I can go grab something different and we'll run that. So I decided to let that one go, but I feel like these ones I was just mentioned are a bigger representation of that same basic pheno. So
right on. Right on. Yeah, I love the biscuit line's just fantastic, and it's fun to see, especially with the Lilith, because she does have such a varied background, and it's layered in there. It's not just like one Afghan type or one narrow leaf type. There's three on each side at least, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna the F2s will probably throw some really crazy shit. Really, really stretch the gamut between, like that really heavy Afghan all the way up to the, to the Vietnamese. But just in the F1s, there's a nice little range in there. And if you're, up to the task and don't mind, having some variation in there, it's a great, great line.
Got no problems with variation at all. The next one, so now I'm kind of caught up on. I was 100% positive I was going to get on those as Black Cuban Rickshaw next. The idea of some Cuban weed just sounds badass to me. Like, sometimes that's all the allure you need. And you were on and talking about that's a 16 weeker right there, and I'm still kind of excited for it. But I saw you posting up of I don't think it was actually the Blue Scream. I think it was the Black and Blue Balls, is it? That's parentage to the Blue Scream. And talking about how it's got the Vietnamese on both sides of it. And that's another one where I just like the sounds of the Vietnamese, but it's got blueberry in there. And I'm just like,
yeah,
Now you
Yep.
got me wondering, do I want to do those ones next?
Hell yeah, man. Yep, they're beautiful too. I got a buddy of mine out in California that's got one just fucking raging. And for the spot that he put it in, he's like, man, I wish I would have got it, gave it a better spot in the backyard. It was kind of jammed in between the shed and the fence. So it's only, I don't know, maybe 3 foot wide in there, but she filled that space, bushed out real wide and just ran the length of that shed. Yeah, and that has, again, yeah, it's the black and blue balls, which is blueberry Vietnamese. And then the dad, of course, the whisker biscuit. So that's got the Vietnamese in it as well, along with the Star Dog and Sensi Star. So there's great potential for, you know, thicker boned, kind of racier kind of gal, just a heavier set type that still has that really nice upward, uplifting, euphoric high.
Sounds like a great time. I'm excited. I'm excited. If pheno hunting, we will go. So, what do you got new going on right now?
Well, I'm just watching some seeds ripen up now from the M21 that a buddy of mine did the initial pop on, and the Northern Lights stuff. Man, the selections were just fucking great, dude. So the NL1 is just like as build, right? Stacks really fucking hard. It's got this really nice bulbous, like almost knuckly kind of look to it, and when she swells, she's going to be real pretty. And it's got like this great, like it's, what was that one, Rado? That was mothballs and what the hell else was that there? Like almost like Vicks Vapor Rub a little bit. Get your ass out here.
I'm joining the party.
Yeah. And so the NL1 is just like as build, and then I put out some NL5 by G13 Haze, and the one is just kind of getting its character to her. She's definitely going to be the longest running of the bunch, but there's these other two that just have this sass to them. The one I swear it's fucking Thin Mint cookies, and like Rado's getting like little bits. There's sweetness there. He's getting like a little bubble gum to it, and I can kind of see that too. But it's like, it's so pretty, it's got some nice color in it, the purple steeples, and some some nice color in the in the leaves and everything already. And it's, we're not getting cold nights yet. It's not chilly. It's just this straight character. They're fucking real pretty, man. And they just got this, like the Thin Mints one is cool, and then this other one's got, like it's kind of like pine tar, but I don't know, it's cleaner. It's cleaner, like more stuff. And I was telling Rado that I put them in. I ran out of space. I ran out of dirt, and I had these that I had picked out to just give a try this summer. And I said, "Oh fuck it!" I had the strawberry bed. The strawberries did like shit. So instead of transplanting them, I just dug down into the bed, jammed the pot down in there, crammed the dirt back around the pot, knowing that they will root through those. They'll root right through the pot. And they have big holes in them. And sure as shit, man, they went from 18 inches, 20, maybe 20, 22 inches. They're 5 and 6 foot now. So they're real happy, and just great structure, great bones. The NL5 G13 Haze have this, that perfect, like, kind of Christmas tree type thing going on, and good bones. They should hold up well without needing crutches when they really start to pack on flower. So those are like that was the nice surprise of the season so far. That was a nice surprise.
Love when surprise works out the proper way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they filled that space right up, and They're kind of sheltered from the wind a little bit, and they are out in the open. But yeah, I was really really happy that I gave them a shot this year. And we got the usual stuff. There's some Whisker Biscuit. She was taking kind of her sweet time. She's just starting to flower out now. Um, just the biggest, happiest plant that I had last year, and I wanted to make sure I saved her. She's got tons of fucking tropical fruit, and then later on in flower, that turpentine will come out, a little nail polish remover kind of thing, in the background will come out. But yeah, I'm expecting a good fucking pull out of her. Um, she was one of the ones last year that she was in those same 2-gallon pots that I had the Northern Lights in this year. And I just left her in the same place for long enough that she sprouted a big old root right down through the bottom of that pot. Now, when I say big root, it filled up the hole. It was 3/4 inch holes in there. And she filled up that. Oh man, it was just gorgeous. I never had to water. The wind came ripping through, and she just stood tall. And so I saved her to go again this year, and she is not disappointing. Um, so we got a couple of we got the Albany Cruise sour cut, and some Kauai Electric. Um, this mango. Another nice surprise for the year was an OG mango sour Staten Island Chem female that I had tested over the winter. And I brought them up here, brought a handful of them up here to finish out, and so I could chop them down and give them a taste and all that good stuff. And so when I cut the plant back and I just left the pots where they were, I didn't water them, I didn't pay no attention to them. And then like a month later, I'm walking and I looked down, I was like, holy shit. And it was that one OG mango cross there that was vegging back again. And I said, well, I guess you want to go. And gave her a 20-gallon pot, and she's one of the biggest girls in the greenhouse. Like, she's going to fucking throw down. That and that garlic cocktail that a buddy of mine sent me. Thank you for that, by the way, if you're listening. It's a GMO cross, so it's heavy GMO.
Yeah.
And Thread's growing big fucking spears on that thing. They're gonna be like baby's arms just dangling all over the place. So yeah, that OG mango, that was great little surprise, and I liked smoking it. And they wash really well from everything that I've heard from the testers and whatnot. I didn't personally get a chance to sift any, but I could see it. And so yeah, that was cool, man. And that she's a stinker. She's got a lot of that mango sour fucking like skunk butt type fucking snarl to it, but lots of nice fruit up front and a little fucking little rank in the back. So yeah, really cool, man. I was super happy.
Yeah, I get down with that. A little more. I should hit a dab here.
Yo,
Surprised I don't have people screaming for one yet. So what are you smoking on tonight?
Well, let's see. I don't actually know. My neighbor came up yesterday and dropped off a sack of something that he had saved from last year, and I don't think he doesn't really know anyway. They just, it's like you ask them what they're smoking up here, and it's like they just, it's weed, dude. What do you think? So this is like, hillbilly indica.
I get
And then my
down.
buddy brought some other stuff. I can't remember what the hell he brought. But yeah, it's nice, stony, pretty fucking chill. Gonna sleep well on it.
I can get down with that. The sleep well is nice. I'm noticing that sleeping less and less again these days, and it's like can't smoke myself to the point where you're even like just kind of burnt out and fucking falling asleep. Seems like 20 minutes and I'm back up and at it again, which sucks. It'd be nice to get that just fucking bombed where, okay, let's go to bed. It's not the way of things, unfortunately. We'll get going though here in what's it? Another like 2 months until I got that Hawaiian snow will be ready. I flipped that like 2-3 weeks ago now, and it says 12 weeks minimum kind of thing, and it's actually way better at like 14. So it's like, fuck, that'll be done like Christmas time if that's the case then.
Right.
So we'll see. That's good.
Yeah, I've
That's
never grown that one. Stoney had sent me some Hawaiian snow by Federation Hawaiian sativa. But I've never grown the snow. Where'd you grab those at, brother?
greenhouse seeds.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, no, we found ordered them straight off their website or some other website that's carrying their stuff, and they show up in the greenhouse pack and everything. And
right.
yeah, it's like Hawaiian sativa by a louse, and that's like one of out of what the dozens of strains the old lady and I have grown together in the last 3 years. That's one of like 3 of them that we can both fully agree on. Like, yeah, we never should have let that one go. Always good, keep it around. So bring her back and work with that. It'd be cool to get some more of these, landrace-based genetics between what you've got and I'm fucking with now. That the Pakistani shit that I've been playing with, I'll be Fluff's Bambalam crossed with that Pakistani. Will be probably the next thing that goes for me to run through that shit and see what's in there. See if we can find a real nice knock your dick in the dirt indica there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That that M21 that we got that's pretty stony. It's I like it for the finishing time and for the frost. It's a nice little building block. It definitely needs it could use a little stretching out a little bit, right? And maybe a little more character on the taste buds. But it's a real good start. And man, they are pretty little plants. They are pretty frosty green little fuckers. I like them. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to those too, man. And we're gonna have the M21, the Northern Lights #1. We're testing some of those out as well. And we should have them, out and about in a couple of weeks here. Well, 4 or 5 weeks, I'd say.
Are you looking for more testers ever? Is that the kind of thing people can reach out to you if they're interested in testing for you?
Yeah, there will be some this fall, so I'll definitely let everyone know when the beans are done cooking. But yeah, there's definitely a few crosses that we got to check out.
Fuck yeah, everyone! You hear that? Fucking you be testing out beans for Jimmy there. That could be one hell of a wicked surprise there.
You got anything from your recent selection this year that you're super stoked about to start looking into, or new to you that you're really excited about? Guess not.
Yeah.
Nothing going down the pipe.
Fluff is scared.
Fluff? You got stuff outdoors this year, Fluff?
Me, I've just got that one deep candy from Greenhouse Seeds, and then I've got that one Granddaddy Black because I really wanted to see what that Granddaddy Black was going to do, and it's fucking stud, man. That thing is just big. I mean, just like literally forearm size fat colas stacked tight. I think me and you talked about a little bit leafy for the liking, but seems like it's going to be a super easy trim regardless. It's just, it's a real tight bud, and it's just going to have that leaf that's just ready to just kind of be flicked right out, So I don't think it'll be too bad. So I'm excited to see, and it looks like it's going to be done within it'll probably be the first week of October, maybe the fucking second. So, I already see the fade happening in it, and the deep candy that's right next to it is just praying and green and just happy as the fucking day is long. You know, you can tell it's wait until like the end of October probably. But so that, yeah, just really, really curious to see. It's nice. It's frosty. There's not a lot of bugs that have been fucking with it. So big plus right there. I hate fucking running that shit outdoors and just giving the bugs a free buffet. So
Did you see my little video the other day, baby ladybug munching on an aphid?
Yes.
yeah, I did.
Did you notice the big, fat, juicy aphid hiding in the fucking plant underneath it? I was like, oh, there's another one. But it's inevitable this time of year. But I love it because it all happens at once. Kind of, I get aphids. They're in my outdoor garden. They happen every year. I try to avoid them, but I can't. But then predators come in a few weeks before the buds get too big and it's finished. They're gone.
Dude, I'm getting more and more into the idea of putting lizards in the freaking garden. Like, you don't have to be like great big iguanas, which don't get me wrong, that would be badass. I would love to have one in there, but they could be like little anoles or something like that, where you just let them go because they would be good for the little fuckers like the spider mites and the aphids and shit like that. They would love that stuff.
Maybe the aphids. I don't know how much they would do with the spider mites. I think that's a little small for like the little anoles and shit. But like, I've got a problem. Like,
for that.
Like right now, I've got like mini fucking spiders, like legit spiders, not spider mites. And it would be great to have one of them little fucking lizards in there to just start ripping through those little spiders.
Dude, I think it would be cool, and I almost feel like I could talk the old lady into letting me get like lizards for the grow tent.
Yeah, dude, they're predatory, beneficial lizards. I like it. I love it. It's great.
She likes lizards. She likes lizards. As it is, we've kind of talked about if we were allowed to get one, right? Except for when they do the facility inspection, if they see a big lizard cage or whatever, they'll start asking questions that I might not be able to come up with a good enough answer for. However, if we get a bunch of little anoles and they just live in a 4x4 grow tent, shit, that'll be easy to hide.
There you go.
Right? 18 hours of light on where they get nice, warm, friggin' sunshine and all that.
It is. Like the grow room is the perfect life cycle for the lizards to be in as well. I mean, and especially like back in the days when you used to run like HPS, because it would add a little bit of like that UV spectrum for them. It actually gave them kind of what they needed. So, dude, there's so many cool things about having like a fucking iguana or something in your grow room. Although that motherfucker probably strip your plant quicker than shit because they love them leaves.
That wouldn't be so bad.
Well, he's not gonna strip it to your liking. He's gonna strip it until his tummy full, and they can eat a fucking lot. And if he's
is it the kind of thing we could pick them a plate full of leaves and just like let them mow out?
Yeah, that would work.
Because that'd be cool. I get down with that.
There you go.
What do you do for IPMs, Jimmy? Do you got any kind of like your regular practices, like sprays and stuff that we all use, and or anything different that maybe nobody's heard of yet? I've got a pack of that 311, and that very well might be the next thing that I pop. I'm trying to choose between that and some black Cuban that he sent me. That's got me all hot and horny to pop.
Bro, that was one that when Noob sent me that Cuban Black by Ty, that Ty A5 from, who was that? From Red Scare Farms, I think is who was that. Red Scare Seed Company. Yeah, that was it. Sounds right. Man, that thing was fucking wicked. But that was one of those, right? It's just forever. Just sitting there watching that thing grow, going, are you ever? Oh, dude, an emotional support lizard. I loved my lizard. It was great. But right, looking at like one of those Cubans, those ties, man, that motherfucking shit takes forever to finish. It's nice. It's such a nice profile when it's done. It's different. It's it's not something you're gonna run across in any of this fucking dispensary weed. Some real unique
Actually,
shit.
you know what? It's interesting you just said that because we went into the local dispensary to buy a fucking try out an ounce just because times are scarce around here, right? So it's like, let's give it a go. And you walk into the dispensary, and the first thing they ask you is one of two things, like, or they'll point out, hey, the highest THC thing, or what the lady asks me, and she's actually a personal friend of ours. And so she's like, are you looking for sativa or indica? I'm like, you don't sell any indica or sativas. Like, there ain't nobody in, well, maybe we shouldn't say in Canada, but like, how many people do you think are actually have these big LP grows where they're growing what, like fucking 12 to 20 week fucking strains? And they're selling them at the same price as these 8-weekers? Like, I don't fucking think so. And then you get like the other people that it's like, you know, like they seem to think there's some kind of specified like cannabis indica, cannabis sativa, you know, or THC indica, THC sativa, sorry, right? Where they seem to think just because it's, you know, like they because that's what the effects will do, right? Like it's weird. People are just so uneducated. But it's like now I'm at the point where it's like you walk into this place, and our neighbor refused to even talk to me after I said that. She kind of just gave us the big, oh, well, fuck you then, and just started going through paperwork at the fucking till there. I'm like,
I just yeah, you know, it's one of those like I feel like when I go to the dispensary, and granted this is like Illinois, right? I'm not real fond of going anywhere else. You know, I'm not out and about, but if I hit the dispo, it's here in fucking Illinois, and it literally seems like the education of the mass-produced weed people, the dispensary people, this is actually getting worse. Like it's like all the information's out there. Like, you know, the passionate people are getting smarter about this shit. We're learning more. We're going more in depth to this, and the people who are supposed to be educating, you know, or educating, even in some of these medical dispensaries and shit, they're fucking idiots. Have zero clue about anything, and it's really kind of disheartening to see, you know, because not only is the miseducation just out there, but it's like being fucking, it's getting worse.
Yeah,
through the fucking idiots who just think they want a cool weed job and then don't pay any attention. I guess. I don't know.
Because most smokers are just your typical fucking weekend smokers or after work. They don't fanaticize about this shit like us. Every person, I think I can honestly say this safely, and I don't usually try to speak for others, but I believe that every person watching this right now, at least live for sure, is fanatical about this plant. It's not just something that we like to do on the weekends. It's a way of life. How many fucking times have you given up plants because you're like, oh shit, I gotta go home and water the fucking plants? That's right. You know, like we sacrifice for this stuff. Right? Most people, I don't know. They have their own hobbies. Yeah, typically, right? Maybe you're into like carpentry as a hobby or something like that. So instead of hanging out in the grow room, you're out in the wood shop. I don't know if we're getting gluing wood together. I'm not trying to make fun of carpentry, but you see what I mean, right? It's like just different strokes. But it would be nice if we could get rid of some of the dummies, the dummies that want to act smart. And but I think it's where, like you said there, Fluff, where it's like it comes from, oh, I've got a cool weed job, so now I'm an expert on this shit. And it's like, well, no, you're not, because your opening line is when you say this one here has 35% THC in it. I already know you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well,
Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't.
Industries told me to tell you that this is the best weed there fucking is. Yeah,
my boss tells me that people like to buy THC high stuff. So, right, well, that's the good stuff, right? It's like, holy fuck my life. And I saw a news posting up about some place there where they're talking about $80 quarters of some 16-week strain. And that seems ridiculously high priced, and it is. But honestly, if it was good product, where like, and I liken this to, like I say time and again, like a good bottle of whiskey or whatever your favorite fancy booze might be, scotch or whatever, it's fight night. And I want to go, I don't drink anymore. So instead of going out and getting that $100 bottle of scotch or whatever like that, I'll go out and get that fucking $100 fucking quarter of weed or whatever, but it's got to be worth my $100. You can't leave like open that up and you're just like, oh shit, I smell hay, you know, and that's the state of things. It seems like I don't see any. I can count on one finger the amount of dispensary ounces that would cost me $200 that I bought, because I had to do it once just to see. Whereas the going rate seems to be a lot of like closer to 100, a lot of in between, I guess, too. But there's no real difference between the $100 ounce and the $200 ounce.
Right.
So how do you justify
the
it?
price? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how. I mean, that's how it is out here. It's the same shit. It's just that ours is. Well, if you go to a regular dispensary, you're paying those prices. If you go to a reservation dispensary, there's no taxes. They go through no paperwork, no bullshit with the state. So to walk in there with $100, you can walk out with 2 ounces of weed and a fucking quarter of concentrate.
Yeah.
You know, and there's really not. Now I've seen. I looked through some of their top shelf at the one place that I go through, and the top shelf definitely looked. You know, there was a stark difference. But like, if you paw through the, you know, 30, 40, $50 ounces, there's not really any difference. You gotta get to the tippy top shelf before anything really looks different. And you know, I mean, I've seen a lot of, you know, 99% of the shit I've never heard of, but there are some familiar names there. You know, I don't know what kind of operation this shit comes out of, but it's definitely they're it's a mass fucking haul. Mechanical harvest, your mechanical trim, and you know, kind of got that rolled through a tumbler look to them, you know.
See, that's now actually here's another one. So what would you prefer, your buds to be rolled through a tumbler or to be picked apart at each little node stemmy little thing, so you get like little pinky tip size fucking chunks out of there? Because that ounce that we just grabbed yesterday, that's what it was. You couldn't tell how big these actual buds are because it's all just little tiny pieces that have been picked and shredded. So if you roll it through a tumbler, you're gonna knock a whole bunch of trichome off and lose that to keef or something. You're doing, if you pick it apart, shred it, basically, you're gonna do the same kind of thing to it. And it's like,
and you know what? Honestly, I went out there and I picked up some stuff, and when I went up to G-Bay's and hit that one dispensary, and the one I picked up said it was supposed to be hand trimmed. And then it was another one that was just nice organic grow, yada, 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 whatever, blah. That one, you know, the one that, you know, it was just supposed to be nice, was a fucking gorgeous, gorgeous looking weed. It's just terpless, right? It was just terpless fucking little rock with a whole lot of trichomes on it. The one that I was excited, they gave all that talk about, you know, being this organic grown, hand trimmed. Yeah, it looked like it was just an excuse for them to say they waved it near a pair of scissors and then throw it in a bag, because the fucking trim looked worse than like fucking Thunder Dan's like farmer trim. And you know, like I don't want to buy the fucking dog shit, right? You said it was trimmed at some point, like what
yeah,
the fuck?
with like a hippie chick with hairy armpits and shit like that. You know, what the fuck?
But yeah, that's one of those where sometimes I almost get a little skeptical of when I look at them and they say hand trimmed, and when it comes to the mass produced hand trimmed weed, it just seems like, I don't know, they just don't do a great job in my experience.
I don't think I've ever seen weed marketed as hand trimmed in our dispensaries yet. But the odd one that does say to like organically grown or whatever like that, I'll lean towards that given the choice. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but you know, let's give it a go. That's my kind of preferred method more often than not of growing. And it just, I don't know, like there's no more extra terps or anything like that. It just seems like it's an excuse to charge you an extra $10-20 an ounce or fucking $5 an eighth or whatever it is that they're gonna do to jack their prices up. Just I hate to say it, it's almost like becoming like throwaway terminology, which is fucked because you get into our little backwoods circles like we got going on, all looking at each other now, and you start talking organics, and then that stirs up a whole conversation. Like, well, what kind of beds are you running? You know, and you start talking microbes and earthworms and all this stuff. That it's you really get into some minutia here. I would actually love to get someone like I would love to get anybody from Big LP Grow on to come and talk with us, actually, but actually an organic based one, because that'd be interesting to talk to them how they get through like microbial testing and stuff like that too, which can be a big thing. You know, there's even at the which cup was it a few years ago where fucking microbial testing ended up fucking being a whole big deal. I don't want to say the wrong cup and slander someone by accident. But you know, we I think we all know what I'm talking about, or the majority of us do. It would be interesting. What are you, or if we're talking new like organic, we talking we're just putting fucking plants in the sand and giving it water. Are we doing like a bottled solution that comes from the organic section of the grow store? Like, or what are we doing here? Like, it's because once again, it won't taste like the weed that I'm getting from G-Bay, which I've watched him grow year after year in his garden outside. I've been lucky enough to try it out. I can vouch for G-Bay for his skills. And it's better than what I get from an organic grower at the dispensary. Once again, it's just fun as shit on dispensaries, isn't it? And it's too bad. It's too bad because they should be a wonderful thing. They are in a lot of ways. They do provide cannabis for a lot of people that don't know better and don't have connections.
Sure.
But it's wow.
Well, after being to a few events, like I can say that they're out there. There's good LPs. There's good licensed producers that you run into that actually give a shit. Do they make it to the forefront of the glass top sales counter? No, not really. Just because they don't have $3 pre-rolls. So sorry. That's the sad fucking reality of it.
See, that's another one that I try to like. A bunch of the guys I work with, actually my foreman, it's his last week this week, and he's all about the pre-rolls. And I've tried to tell him, like, dude, you're just like bottom of the bag and stuff like that. It's like, you go get a jar of salsa. We all like salsa, right? Well, it wasn't the good looking tomatoes and peppers that got thrown in there. That's the banged up fucking nasty ones where it's like, okay, we got to cut a chunk off that. Same shit with your pre-rolls. It's the stuff that they don't want to sell you, like in a bottom of a crushed up little fucking plastic container.
Yeah.
Dab time?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right.
I wish I had dabs. I should ran out and grab some. Oh, maybe.
I gotta smoke this bong.
So what's your future plans coming up for, say, like looking to get going on for next year on the farm? Not necessarily cannabis, but if it is cannabis based, we'll definitely love to talk about that as well. But cannabis is not the only thing you do. One of the things I actually like is you'll preface a lot of your cannabis pictures with pictures of flowers and shit like that. So it's, give me something to it decoys Instagram, I think, a bit, but it also shows us that, hey, you can grow more than weed.
Yeah, it's been a fairly good year. There was some successes, some failures. The successes outweighed the failures, so
like it.
That's a good thing. We did have this badass windstorm that moved through. I guess there was some tornadoes and shit happening around the fucking states, and so some of that wind made it up here and ripped the cover up off the greenhouse and knocked over the little greenhouse that was inside the big greenhouse and kind of caused a disaster with some of the starts. But everything that planted for the most part did pretty well. So for next year, I just kind of want to build on what I was able to accomplish this year. Continue to, I'm gonna have to re-amend all the beds. So and a lot of the raised beds, they really got not much more than compost, and just a little bit of top dress. So we're gonna go through and get everything shined up. I'm hoping to. So one of the failures was the smart pot tomatoes. So I had multi-planted. Each pot got a tomato, two pepper plants, and I had planned on onions until the wind had knocked over my trays and busted shit everywhere. And then once things got going, I'm gonna hold off on doing anything more, and these were just stuck to the peppers and the tomatoes. But it was inconsistent watering. So we got a lot of blossom end rot on the tomatoes. The peppers didn't produce like they should have. So for next year, if the greenhouse, the frame anyway, if I keep the frame in this spot, um, then I'll be growing tomatoes in the pots again. So I'll have to set up some sort of drip system, maybe blue mats. I don't know if you guys are familiar with blue mats, but it's kind of like it's an automatic watering system. That each pot gets its own dripper, and they basically they're adjustable. You got to kind of tune them a little bit, but they sense the moisture or lack thereof in the soil, and so when the soil starts to dry out, the drippers open up and water the pot. So that's a definite. If I do, if the frame stays where it is, and we do them in pots, then it's going to have to be a drip system. Otherwise,
Have you thought
I
about looking
do
at
have
some
a new
other things
location.
other than like the blue mat type stuff? Because I've so like in my indoor here, I've got a nice big 4x8 bed with a 2x4 sitting next to it. I use that. I'm sure on Instagram you probably run across that Thirsty Earth system. Got those clay pots run by the automatic watering bucket.
Oh yeah, okay. I think
Yeah,
I have seen
yeah,
that.
dude, those things work phenomenal. And what they haven't done, which I haven't heard things like, Blue Mat say, is they haven't flooded my room.
Right,
So, and there
right
was
on,
no adjusting. I put them in, the fucking soil and threw the water to them, and they just work.
right on.
So it might be one that it might be worth looking into. Other, because I've heard war stories about the blue mats. It's what kept me away from using them. I've heard a lot of
Right,
people have success, but I've heard more people have flooded rooms. So
right on.
yeah, so you just might be one to look into, because just in my experience, real success. But anyway, so I'm sorry. Continue on.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Where was I? Yeah. So the other option is that I do have where the frame is a 26-foot long, 10-foot wide greenhouse that I just run I just run the frame. I put trellis netting up around it, so I can train the vines up and through. Um, I do have a place that I want to move it to, and if and when I do, which may be next spring, maybe the following fall, but I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plant everything right in the ground. The tomatoes that I planted in the beds back here blew the fuck up. I mean, I got tomatoes coming out of my ass. I already have, I think, 3 gallons of salsa jarred up, and probably another 3 gallons on the way. So they did really well. I want to. So if I'm gonna do more tomatoes, they either have to be on a watering system, or direct in grounds. So eventually it'll, I'll just um, pull the sod up, flip the sod, cover it in compost, leaves, dead shit, and just stick them right in there. Do a couple rows, do a row up each side, and then down the middle I can do maybe some stuff in pots or something. But definitely that was the way to go with those. And where it is now, the plan is to build a 4-season greenhouse, timber frame, twin wall polycarbonate panels, and set it up with a nice exhaust system. I think you can even get them that run on solar. When it's hot and sunny, the fucking thing runs. When it's cold and dreary out, it doesn't run. Who cares? Um, so I don't even need to hook it up to the grid or anything. It just power itself, and I could always make it large enough, something I could put a little wood stove out there, and really extend my seasons. Um,
Dude,
and
you could
something.
get batshit crazy and put like fucking tube coils in your soil and shit like that and run it like a mini boiler and keep your soil warm too.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. That's an
Yeah,
interesting.
we've had some long talks about how to keep a greenhouse running all year long.
Right.
Us
Well,
Canadians, we think about this shit.
I don't know if I've mentioned it before. It always comes up at some point. The crazy Russian bastard that wanted to grow citrus in Siberia, right? And so he dug down. He dug down well below the frost line and buried a bunch of tubing. One continuous run, couple 100 feet of it. You leave the two ends poking up out, and then you backfill down just below the frost line. So if your frost line is at 4 foot, you dig down 8 or 10 feet, you bury those pipes, you backfill stone and then soil until again you're, just below the frost line or just right there, and that's now the floor of your greenhouse. And up the north wall is all concrete block, and concrete block, paint it black. It'll absorb the sunlight during the day, especially in the winter time. Um, and it's low profile, right? Because you're 4 foot below ground, and maybe you got an 8 foot ceiling and something like that, or 10 foot ceiling. So you really only have 4 to 6 feet that sticks up above ground, and like again, you position it east to west, you face it south, the wall to the north. That's your thermal mass. And then again, you can get a fan to run fairly cheaply. That's just you hook a fan, an exhaust type fan, just like we would put in a tent. You hook one of those puppies up to one end of that tube, and in the summertime, you're drawing air. You're drawing hot air down into that tube, running it. It's like a geothermal kind of situation going on. What comes out of that tube is kind of coolish air. In the wintertime, it's the opposite. You're going to pull that cold air out of the greenhouse down underground where the ambient is, 50 degrees or so, and it blasts it up into the greenhouse. And between the sunlight and, that nice 50-degree air that's getting blown in there, you keep a pretty nice environment. It's, obviously, things slow down, but you're a tropical zone now. So any kind of citrus, tropical fruit, you want to grow dragon fruit, you want to grow, oranges or, what the fuck ever, man. Just brilliant. And so this cat in northern Canada grabbed that idea. Now there's several videos of this fella. He's got to be in his 80s giving a tour of this fucking greenhouse, so you can't see more than a couple feet in any direction once you get into it. There's just shit growing everywhere. He's got pineapples, he's got mangoes, he's got citrus. And, so he's kind of revised that original Russian guy's design over the years and 5 or 6 iterations in, and he's got them pretty well dialed. But that when I know that I'm in a permanent spot, I'm digging one of those motherfuckers. Oh yeah, because I want to grow citrus. I want to grow tropical fruits.
It would be a rather neat idea. Just to, and you know what, honestly, to be able to grow whatever the fuck you want. Well, you know, because at that point, that's where you're at. I think you can pretty much just grow anything. You know, you just got to get the right now environment. You know, if something needs a little bit more tropical, then you're going to have to just do a little more work, but your root zone's at least taken care of. So
Oh yeah,
that's the important
and
part, you know, to keep those long term fuckers like that. I'd probably just have fucking pineapples everywhere, to be honest. That'd be me. I'd be like, fucking, I can grow pineapples.
fuck yeah, dude. That's a 2-year commitment, right? So that's
Exactly. I've thought about putting them in the grow tent, and I'm just like, I can't stand looking at that motherfucker for 2 years in my tent. I just can't.
Yep, yep. But if you had a 40-foot long fucking subterranean greenhouse,
Oh, I'd be growing all fucking. I'd probably be growing 10 foot
One
worth
every
of
5
fucking all
feet.
pineapples.
man.
Yeah, one every 5 foot.
And
Bro.
it's like if you're running like 4x8 flood tables or something weird like that, or that's the size of your bed, you got like one on every corner of the bed.
Yeah, just one on every corner. So, hey, Jimmy, I had asked earlier, I think you had stepped away for a second. Do you have anything you're rather proud of that you're fucking really interested that's coming out of this garden this year? You know, you said you've had a lot of successes, you've had some failures, but when it comes to like your work, some of the shit, what's really standing out in your garden this year for you?
Which garden now? Vegetable
Your
or
cannabis garden, man.
right on. Yeah, dude, the Lilith is fucking knocking my socks off. And these Northern Lights crosses, like, you know, I was going on about them earlier. I'd never grown the NL5 G13 haze, and I've grown plenty of NL5, but I haven't cracked into the G13 haze that I have yet. I've been waiting until I have, give them my full attention and give them a good run. So those are really promising, but like that Lilith is just, it's going to be everything. You know, when you get into them, it's going to be everything that's in there. You know, it all comes out at some point. It's just fantastic, dude. Like, you know, you get some turpentine gassy shit from the Star Dog and the Sensi Star, and there's fruit and there's spice and there's, you know, the range of structure, the leaf morphology, the terpene profiles. Like, it's just such a dynamic line, again, with all this range of things, and there's layers of Afghan, and there's layers of more narrow leaf wild types, and it just all shows up in one fucking seed or another. And I'm really happy with the way that it's turned out, and I'm really looking forward to doing like a 250 to 300 seed pop on those, and find myself not just the females that I really, really like, but to find their twin brothers.
Yeah.
Because that's really where it's at. And that's like, for me, that's the best way to find the right fella to use, is to find the gals you really, really enjoy, get to know them, and then once you've seen the good females, then you can start to pick out their, the ones that are most like them on the male side. And then once we get this building up here and rolling, I'll have a spot where I can really play around, and I'll be able to reverse the males so that you get an even better idea of their, what their potential terpene profiles, what their female flowers look like. Can't smoke them because it's fucking nasty shit you got to spray on them to get them to fucking flip.
That's actually why something I I've heard of before years ago by a guy who's just kind of way too fucking smart about this shit for my level of thinking when it comes to this plant, and I've never heard anybody really talk about it since. What exactly is the deal with reversing males?
Well, because really all the male you get, the most you get out of it really is the stem rub as far as the aromas. Where you're going to find the what kind of terpenes are they going to produce, right? And it's just easier to get a sense of what they really smell like and what they're really capable of until you flip them and get them to grow big old sacks and lots of trichomes. And um I think it's just the final step without having fancy equipment and a lab coat. I think it's the closest that we can come at home to really, like I said again, finding that gal's twin brother, right? The one that's going to have that certain. She's just got a little certain something to her about the nose on her. You've selected for structure and color and the leaf shape and all that kind of shit, right? You're looking for your favorite gal's twin brothers. And so you've selected for all the stuff that you can see and identify in veg. But flower is a different story. And so when a male flowers, on his own without any goofy shit going on, yeah, you do have like resin males here and there, but you still don't get. They smell good, but you don't get that same fucking hit without
And
changing their.
and
So
half
is
the
it
time,
is it
they
like
got
how
fucking
you would?
flowers and shit. So and they taste weird.
Is this kind of just like how you would reverse a female or whatever, feminize a female kind of thing, spraying silver thiosulfate to get it to do females, or like it's
Yeah, it's a different chemical.
but same idea?
Way
Yeah,
nastier.
same
Way
concept.
nastier shit.
Okay.
Instead of blocking the ethylene, it's an ethylene. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read about it. But I believe like the STS is the ethylene blocker, and so the reverse of that is somewhere in that realm, I guess. But yeah, it is kind of the same type of situation where you
Okay.
got to spray it down and get it into flower, and it'll change the chemical pathways or whatever they're producing to get them to flower as a male or a female.
That's interesting to me. I fuck it. It's still a few years above my pay grade before I'm even willing to attempt that shit. But it's interesting as hell to me that just how far in depth people are willing to go to be able to, like really suss out winning plants, whether they be male or female. Like,
Right.
like it's, and I do like the idea of the thoroughness of it, because how many times in your life have you picked what you thought looked like a winning fucking male? Like everything about it says yes, all signs are there, but for whatever reason, it just didn't compute with the females that you crossed it with, and it was just everything was, you didn't make anything better than what you started with, at the very least, right? And
Right.
so you're just like, kind of, huh? But now you could start kind of, once again, just fucking get into the weed nerd of it all, and start, like it's just, it's crazy. And then the other thing to me is like, who even thinks of this shit? Like to start spraying chemicals, like just the feminization process. We can start there because that's one that most of us are familiar with or got an understanding of at least. And you're okay, like I'm really sick of male seeds. I get that. Fucking, I can totally understand that. I just want females. So let's just start spraying these plants with fucking chemicals, and at some point, maybe we get female seeds. Like where was the thought process on that?
Yeah, I wonder if it wasn't a botanical practice in some other arena.
That
You
would
know.
probably make sense, actually.
But
even there, like say we're making carnelias or something, I don't know. Just to throw a random plant out there, like who thought to spray it with silver thiosulfate?
Science.
Like
Smart motherfuckers who know what things do, and they know how to make things do what they want things to do. See, that's the part where it gets out of where I'm kind of torn on it, right? Because once you like feminize that, you really just shut off that fucking gene line, right? It's boom. You've now just fucking shut her down. Where you instead of doing that, if you take the time, you hunt out that male, you find that resinous motherfucker, you throw it on that fucking prize winning female, you actually do get that prize winning fucking seed to cross out. It just makes more sense. You know what I mean? To me, where and it allows you to further work a line down farther without within the line to keep it kind of, I don't know, pure, I guess. So it's always been a way I like to do it. I see the need or the benefit. If I find that fucker and I'm finally like, all right, ideally you can do this, by feminizing, you kind of get it right away, or you work it down into a fucking F9, right? And then you can do the same fucking thing. I like the idea of working it down, where some people like the idea of just finding it and moving on and off you go. So
I feel like it's just like everything. There's a place for everything. I like femmes just because when I'm fucking with all these male plants or potential male plants, because I'm playing with reg seeds, if I pop 2 or 3 femmes in there, I'm at least okay. I know those ones will be femmes. So I don't really got to worry about that. I've got that going on with some investment dogs from Family Tree Seeds right now. I've got, like, I started off with 10 of your Lilith, and then I popped 10 of a cross of mine that I did. So right there, you've got 20 seeds that, it's entirely possible that you might only have 8 females in there. And you got all these males that all of a sudden you're going to get rid of right here. So I like to be able the surety of femmes.
Well, yeah, and when you have plant count numbers that you're trying to abide by, I know a lot of people do, and that's fine, and and that's a great way to avoid any kind of messiness there. It's like, well, I can grow out 6 females. I'm gonna pop, I'll get 6 sprouted, and away we go. And so they're convenient when you got to fill a little space, and I could use a couple of females. Cool, I'll pop. I got these femmes kicking around. I'll pop a couple of those.
Yeah, it's like a fucking auto. It's convenient. Yeah. It fills a fucking spot.
And like my buddy went through this year. I feel kind of bad for him. It was his first time growing, and he had a bunch of great looking plants. I think he started out with a dozen, and I think he's down to 2 or 3.
Ouch.
It was a sausage fest over there. And so, in a case like that, it's like, man, I wouldn't want people to get discouraged. Their first time growing, they get all excited. You got all these fucking plants everywhere, and then before you know it, there's like 2 left.
I feel like I think I can actually say this is true about myself. If I'm giving seeds to a newer grower, I am more likely inclined to give them femmes. Just because you will, like, here's a pack of them, like you said, here's 5, 6, 4, whatever the number is in there. And here you go. It's one thing you don't got to worry about. But, like, the thrill of the pheno hunt is that's where the fun part is. Like, I really enjoy seeing what's going on in there. Like, I like to talk shit about, like, F1 superstars because, like, anybody can take A and B, put 2 together, and just move on to the next thing. There's not a lot of talenting on that. Fire in, fire out. When you, like, actually get in and start creating. But, like, what the fun, when you pop some F2s, like, and you have, like, friggin' 8, 9 different phenos in there sometimes, it's just like, holy fuck, like let's look at what we got in here. That's exciting, and especially if there's somebody else's F2s that you've never really run before, because then you've got all this new stuff that you've never even seen before potentially.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why that's why I mentioned the Lilith, because there's just so much different shit in there. You take those at F2, you should really see the range of shit that's possible and that went into it. That might be, once I get through the sift through the Lilith seeds that I set aside. That's definitely a possibility. I don't know how they'd go though, feminized, but we'll give it a shot.
We'll see. Maybe I'll give it a go, because I don't think I'm looking to keep any males right now. And my old lady was fucking jumping for joy when I mentioned that the other day. She was, because just she's so sick and tired of pulling seeds out of fucking weed when I over pollinate stuff.
Right.
And so, but I am looking for at least one or two keepers to have around from there, to hold on to for a while. Like I said, for what we're doing, like, we're still only, plants are fucking, the tallest ones are only a foot tall, so they still got a ways to go. But like, like maybe 2 or 3 freaking basic phenotypes in there already, so that could be all right to play with, and maybe try that for a feminizing project.
Yeah, it should give you a nice little look into what's in there and what's possible. And it's really just it's a matter of whatever your personal tastes, kind of lean to, but there's a lot in there to choose from. There's a lot in there to choose from. It's not it's definitely not a homogenized line. It's something that I will probably not personally. Well, I don't know. At some point, maybe, but not anytime soon. And am I going to like kind of focus the line in any particular direction? It's definitely going to be the next step in my kind of just ongoing, like an ongoing project. This started from Lilith came from the Whisker Biscuit, that came from not just the Whisker Biscuit, but the Whisker Biscuit and the God Zombie, that came from the Astro Zombie, and then the Whisker Biscuit on the other side. And it's really just been it's like a journey of some of my favorite plants that have made it into the mix. And so I think that's the next step in that kind of project, where I'm just kind of, I come across a plant I really, really like, and we'll work it into the, kind of work it in there somehow, some way.
It's, you're actually kind of doing the exact opposite of what we've all been bitching about. How over the years we talk about how like smells and certain things have been bred out of cannabis, and now there's a lot of myrcene dominant strains out there. Don't worry, they get you all high, but a lot of the flavors and stuff are gone. And it sounds like you're doing the exact opposite. You got like this big genetic pool, and you keep making it bigger and bigger, like Whisker Biscuit this, Whisker Biscuit, you know what I mean? And just that circle expands, kind of like a butterfly effect. And you just more flavor. Oh, we got this. Let's throw more of this flavor in there as well. And I like the idea of it. And especially if, like, I like the thrill of the pheno hunt, man. I got to go back to that, where you're just like, you have potential for so many different variations and flavors. Like I said, right now, out of 8 plants that I've got, I'm looking at least 3 different basic phenotypes. But what happens when they get a little bit older and start to mature? And now these 2 that were kind of the same are clearly not that close. Yeah, similar, but not that close. right? And then all of a sudden, maybe out of 8, I've actually got 7 very different things to look at. And holy
Sure,
shit.
they might look the
And I
same.
lucked out, and they're all females. Holy shit, yeah. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, it would be nice.
I was trying to sex them today. No, they're not there yet.
Do you what I do if I'm in a hurry to get them sexed, like springtime, I put them into once they have like 6 to 8 nodes, I put them into flour for like 4 or 5 days.
Yep.
And then put them right back into veg. And then it'll be another 5 to 7 days usually, and they'll show sex. Like the females will pop right out. And they don't really suffer. I mean, it's not like when I fucked up this spring and put my girls outside in May because it was so warm and tasty and inviting. There just wasn't enough light, so I had a bunch of these fucking rascally bitches go right into flower by June, and it was like fighting to get them back into veg, and so I ended up with some undersized girls. But what the hell was I saying? I don't know. Shit.
Trying to get them into flower, control them.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh man, what happens when I lose my train of thought?
It's, well, we're stoners.
Sorry,
It'll happen.
brain.
And it'll continue to
Don't be
happen.
the first or the last.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough. I just let them fucking go. Usually by 8 to 9 weeks, I usually am seeing fucking sex, and they're ready to be like hashed out anyway. So
Right.
I'm usually good. If by that point I'm not finding it like a bunch of obvious females, I'm questioning if I have a whole run of males sitting in front of me. I'm just like, oh fuck, all right. So I don't usually flip them. I'll just usually wait and wait. But it's also I kind of like to just naturally see how long it takes them to age. At this point, I'm doing a whole lot of kind of testing and looking at my own genetics to see what they do, how they act, and all of this, and just so for me to kind of figure out how regularly at what week I'm gonna see my females are those usually gonna be winners that show up. Are those usually going to be winners that so stuff like that is it's why I'm kind of okay with not worrying about trying to find that quick female. If that's the case, that's when I'm going to start. If I need a female that bad, that's when I'm going to start looking at them feminized seeds. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I'll take the slow road if I can, when at all possible, and I think it's beneficial. I really do. When you can see that plant mature itself, when you've given it that time, you don't screw around with it. I have a tendency to see that plant be happier and flower, express itself just a touch better.
I
things
find
like
if I try and push them too fast and flip them before they actually want to, i.e., like showing sex in a lot of the females and stuff like that, it severely limits the harvest.
Yeah.
Like you can force growth on a plant by force feeding it bottled nutrients. I've done it many a times, but when you actually start looking at it, and it's like a lot of the times they're just not quite ready, but you'll flip it anyways. A lot of times because it's a height thing. But the plant itself just wasn't ready, and you'll see your diminished harvests of that. In my experience, at least.
Yeah, it's best if you wait until you see alternating nodes. The female throw out their stigmas. Yeah, because I mean you can run regular seeds, 12-12 from seed, and you know, if it works out nice, if you're in a hurry, you can bang them fucking, you know, 10, 11 hours of daylight right from seed. But they don't get very big,
I
you
might
know.
do that with black Cubans.
Well, some of that shit, yeah. I mean, if it's something that has the potential to get rather large and you're in a limited space, it's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, I was thinking, give them like two weeks in a solo cup to kind of do their thing, and then just start playing the game, flip them in, and see what happens. Because then I can get rid of the males. Because if I'm not looking for a male out of there, then I don't need a fucking 20-week flowering male if I'm not going to use it. Right, get the fuck out of here. And just play that. And then if there's something that I'm like, yeah, that's my jam right there. You can always re-veg it.
Right.
And it's in my experience that does anyone else notice that like the long flowering sativas or whatever you want to call them, they seem to re-veg a little quicker and easier. I find.
Oh yeah.
I find
Absolutely.
some indicas are just fucking stubborn at times.
Oh. And well, because they're, you know, they can be a little faster to make seed too. Just because they have to hurry. You know, if you're used to growing in an environment where, you know, winter's coming and you got to get your seed made and, you know, finish up in time. That's the plant's only purpose, right? It's to make seed or die trying.
Yep.
And so, you know, those heavy indicas can be a fucking real pain in the balls to re-veg sometimes because they're, you know, they're used to running a fast life cycle, whereas a narrow leaf could have a 20-week flower cycle. And, you know, it might be a little more difficult to re-veg them when they're that deep into flower. But like right now, if I were to go and take cuttings of, you know, like the black and blue balls or that Santa Cruz haze or the purple Colombian, they'd root up and go right back into veg, no problem. And then I think the faster the plant, the trickier it can be to get it to flip back and in good shape.
Can see that. That was actually almost close to a question I was wanting to ask you about it. With some of these kind of bigger, longer running strains that you're running, do you notice or have you tried to just keep them in a restricted root zone from kind of basically like let them grow from seed into like that 1 or 2, 3 gallon pot, never up pot them into that whole cycle, just feed them? And have you tried that at all? Because when I did it, what I noticed was I was actually able to flower out almost 2 weeks. Well, actually, almost a month on one strain, or at least one particular pheno of one of those longer running like hazes. Almost a month early that thing finished. You know, like 4 weeks. Keeping it with that restricted root zone. Have you ever tried that with some of these and seen how they would respond?
No, well, I always grew, you know, when I was indoors only, I was growing in cocoa, and it acts more like hydro, and they didn't seem to act any. You know, I haven't seen anything different now that I'm, you know, growing a lot more outdoors. I think, you know, I think maybe if you were growing, I don't know, man. Maybe if you were growing in soil, they might fucking pop off a little faster. I didn't really notice it. What I do notice about the sativas, though, is that you can flip them before they filled out that root zone, and they'll continue to build roots well into flower. Whereas, a faster running plant. You get the roots built up real good. You want to up pot it well before you flower, at least a good couple weeks. You don't want to just transplant and flip. Whereas with the narrow leaf girls, I would transplant, give them like 2 days, and then flip them. And when I would dump out the root balls at the end of the flowering session, it was a nice full fucking root ball. But I haven't noticed that. But I'll have to ask. I had a couple buddies that grow a lot of long flowering shit, and I'll ask them if they've noticed. Now I have noticed that I mean I would grow in and we're talking small, like 5-inch square pots, 5 1/4 inch square pots, and so I would test in those, and some of the males would get a little, like in the Astro Zombie, the first iteration of that, the males got bitchy and would throw out some fucking female flowers when I kept them real restricted. But that's like, what is that? A quart of fucking cocoa, and then just feeding them like like when I first got started in hydro and I was growing in, the 5-inch Rockwell cubes. Same deal, just feed them like twice a day.
Now, I wonder if you might be onto something, because right, that is I always grow organically, and they were in an organic like 1.5 gallon pot is what I was doing them in to try it out, to see kind of what it would do. So and I think that's one thing when you say like a restricted root zone and things, until a fucking hydro plant has like literally strangled itself with roots. I mean, you
Yeah.
can feed those, and it's like growing in a goddamn, in the it's they don't know that they don't have that fucking space until they've completely strangled themselves out. So
Right.
until that happens, and that's a lot longer than a lot of people think. So
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I've seen my mentor that taught me, the first bit of what I know about growing. She she had this one plant. They were all in goofy fucking random containers, right? She grew in Rockwell. This was like, 90, well, this the early 90s. And she was growing in Rockwell, and she had this one plant. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the girls was in a literal fucking plastic souvenir cup from the local amusement park. Couldn't have been, fuck man, it couldn't have been more than 24 ounces, maybe 30 ounces. It's not a huge cup. And that fucking thing, and she re-vegged her plants, and she would chop them back, take good almost all the flour off, and then stick them back in the under the metal halide. And that one plant was several years old. Her oldest one was 7 years old, and she didn't mom it out. She fucking flowered it, re-vegged it, flowered it, re-vegged it, over and fucking over again, in that same cup of Rockwell. Absolutely incredible. That lady had 3 green thumbs, man.
I think we got taught by very similar people. And when I figured out what fucking cloning was, I was like, holy shit, like this will be way fucking easier.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, at
Oh,
one point they were taking clones, and they were, they had an outdoor crop, they had their indoor shit, and then, as the years went on, she just got, scaled back, and then it was just like a little extra cash for her here and there, and so not like really hitting it hard. So I said, fuck it, I'll just re-veg them. It's like this way I don't have to keep a clone room. I don't have to take nope. I'll just flower them, harvest them, fucking veg them right back out again. I mean, that indoor plant, I trimmed a couple of them for the very last time, and that fucking thing had bark on it. I mean, it was impressive.
Motherfucker looked like tree roots out of there. It only
Yeah,
like fucking 3 of them, just like a big fucking 3 gnarled motherfuckers.
yep, yep. She ran a reservoir on a timer, and they get doused, however many 4 or 5 times a day.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, but so yeah, you get it, man. You fucking get it. But in doing that, I mean, like I said though, I saw plants at least move faster. Yeah, yield was obviously affected and things, but to be able to test it and the representation of the same plant that went fucking 80 days and the same plant that went fucking 130, they were not so different. So it was just really it was really interesting to see. So knowing somebody like yourself who has runs and runs in the circles where people are running a lot of those, I was just wondering if you had run across it because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to try it out now. So
Yeah,
once I get a little indoor setup that I can manage a little, manage a little better, especially the longer flowering ones. I mean, you know, I have a spot carved out for the long flowering gals, and it remains to be seen if my gamble is correct. But I mean, they've grown really impressive for only seeing sunlight until about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I have them right up against the tree line. The tree line runs north to south. The sun sets behind them. So, they're in dappled light from 1 o'clock on. Dappled light to shade from 1 o'clock on. Now, the upside is that they do have this kind of canopy over them from the trees. They're right up against the tree line. So there's a canopy there. We'll see how bad the dew settles on them. When it does rain, they don't see, a bunch of direct rain. They're kind of in a little miniature valley. And so I don't have to worry about watering. The water is fucking running right down the hill, right at them. And the trees seem to keep some of that direct rain water off of them. The one thing that we will find out is um, whether or not they'll be able to avoid the frost. Is that an area that maybe stays a little warmer, or again with the tree cover, does that kind of help with the maybe uh, keeping
will the
some of
tree
that
cover
warmth
be there
down?
long enough to protect from the frost?
Yeah, exactly. So and then what's the weather going to be like this year? Are we going to get a pretty good cold snap in November? Um, we'll find out. I know that they're going to make it. As far as seed production, they'll be golden. Um, so the seeds will be fine. It's just whether or not there'll be some um prime time harvested flour to smoke. We'll see, because I know that Black and Blue Balls is a runner, and the SC Hayes hasn't even fucking sprouted flowers yet. That's she's taking her sweet time. And
Yikes.
Did you
um
just say hasn't even sprouted? I thought I
yeah,
had one that was taking its fucking dear sweet time, and you ain't even got flowers yet.
yeah, yeah, that Santa Cruz Hayes is probably, well, it's every bit of 16 weeks. um so
Yours sounds like a fucking 20-week strain if you ain't even fucking started yet.
yeah,
Fuck.
well, the Black and Blue Balls is probably a good 2 weeks in. So that Hayes is probably, it's looking like she's going to be about 3 weeks behind the fucking blueberry Vietnamese. Um, but I have faith I will be able to finish the seeds, and I got her backed up, so I'll be able to run her indoors and give her a proper go at things, and hope for the day when I have a subterranean greenhouse to grow some wicked fucking tropical shit.
Be badass. You just think of it if it's like, minus, well, I'm thinking like minus 20 my temperatures, whatever that works out to American speak, cold as shit. Um, and you're hanging out in your subterranean greenhouse eating a mango off your fucking mango tree or something.
Fucking A, man. Seriously,
That-
with you,
That would be
you're
the
out there-
coolest thing ever. If I could grow any kind of tree and be able to do it indoors, something like what you're talking about, I think mango would be the tree of choice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I could do mango. I could do passion fruit or guava. Got to have some pineapples in there, some dragon fruit vines.
Avocado and pineapple would probably be two fucking for sure's.
Definitely
Oh,
grow
and
fruit, too.
artichokes. I fucking love artichokes.
We've got some dragon fruits that are starting to get pretty big. There's like, we basically just cut 2 slices of them and then laid them on some soil, covered them up a bit, and you get a billion sprouts growing out of yogurt containers, basically. And they need to be separated because they look like a whole shit ton of cactuses. In the one container, they're getting like, size of that finger. So it'd be really cool to get them done, and like, good chance it's going to be one of those things that just sits around the house for a couple of years and never really matures fully, and you never get fruit off. But what if I'm wrong? What if we do get dragon fruit off? How cool would that be?
Fuck yeah, man. Dragon fruit's awesome. It's just a cool
No harm in trying. We've got avocado seeds going on because I go through a lot of avocados for my morning smoothies, and I like to just throw the seeds in my worm bin. I find that is the best way to sprout avocado seeds. Just throw them in your worm bin and forget about them for a month or so. And, you go in there and they'll have the nice freaking root and stem starting to grow on them and go from there. We got 3 of those growing in the house. It's like, and those are cool plants too, because I had one back in the day when I was in the married life. And when that thing was about 2 feet tall, and you get these great big, nice, wide, fucking long leaves, or not wide, long, narrow leaves on it. And I tried to clone it, cut the top off to clone it, because I was like, fuck yeah, it'd be cool to have 2 of these. The clone didn't work at all, but the thing went co-dominant, and all of a sudden I had 2 tops going like that. And it was probably a 4-foot tree by the time I left that house and never went back. I'd love to get something like that again. Now, once again, I don't think we'd ever actually get avocados to actually produce fruit, but it would be pretty freaking cool if you did.
Right?
Or just grow them until you get like sick and tired of taking care of it, and then sell it on like Facebook for like, fuck, you can probably sell a plant for like fucking a couple $100. Maybe that's the plan right there. We all just, we don't quit growing cannabis, but like we all talk about cannabis regs and shit like that. We just grow like avocados and dragon fruit and pineapples and sell those to people.
exotic fruit for sale.
Fucking people.
Yeah, or yeah, just like go sprout a whole bunch of lemon and orange trees and stuff like that. Get them going in 1 gallon pots once they're that tall. Fucking, here you go.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking start doing trees. I'm out. I kill them motherfuckers every time I try. Fucking bad at growing trees, man. I can't grow a fucking tree to save my life.
That's why we're selling them to people before you can kill it. We just needed to sprout more interest fluff. We can get you to like a 6 foot or 6 inch tree, right?
Oh yeah, I can get 6 inches. There you go, Jay.
That's what
You fucking got it. Fuck you, Caribou.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, golden.
Shit. Anyway,
So I think we ask you this one pretty much every time that you're on. Is there anything new for cannabis strains that you're kind of looking and hoping you've seen maybe someone else growing that you're wanting to get your hands on to try for the coming year?
Oh, that's a good question. So my buddy out west, I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's this this shit. They've had it around forever. It was line bred to, and kept for many generations, called marine layer, and it's some sort of Southeast Asian shit that I gotta grab from him yet. Um, I want to add that one to the collection. Red Scare, give him a quick shout out. Maybe we can get him to come on in a couple weeks.
Sure.
Red
Yeah.
Scare Seed Company sent me some stuff last year, 2 winters ago. And I got into that a little bit. I asked him, I said, I just want something with mothballs. And he sent me this shit called Sleeping with Sophie. I don't know what the hell is in it, but it was pretty damn good. And there was one in particular. That I hit with the Whisker Biscuit that I need to grow those out. But I've seen some of his shit lately that he's been showing off has me drooling a little bit. So I'm gonna go with the Marine Layer and some Red Scare Seed Company joint. And I got so much other shit in my fucking stash that I got to get to, that I try not to. It's like, not to diss anyone. I don't mean like any like disrespect or anything, but it's like, man, I really try to just scroll fast and like, oh man, that looks really good. I gotta go. I gotta strictly stick to window shopping for a little bit before I get properly set up and to the point where I can run, just for shits and giggles. Just pop a couple of seeds every week, pop a couple new seeds, and just, even if you got to flower them out right from seed, or, 12 from seed or whatever. If I just to get, just for the variety, and, cause I got a lot of stuff like that I don't really, I don't plan on incorporating it or using it in any work, but I just want to grow it out so I got something new to smoke,
Rusty.
I'm either way too baked or that
That's
was
good. That's
really
dad
just
joke.
fucking
That's
funny.
dad joke shit right there.
That was good. That was a good one.
I thought so.
Too good.
Shit.
I always refer to some weeds as mothballs, man. 'Cause some of it does have that deep down funk. I can't wait. I
Dig
got
that
the endo breath
fucking
in that.
mothbally old funky weird ass turp, man. It's good.
The garlic.
I had it in that well, I was reminiscing about that cut of Big Sur holy weed that I held for a while, and we had this season a couple years ago outdoors. Everybody I know got fucking septoria, and everyone was asking me what was wrong with their weed plants, and I'm like, I got it too. It's fucking leaf spot mold shit, cunt, fuck my life. And yeah, I had what was it? I think it was the golden goat that just got absolutely fucking destroyed by the septoria. It just loved that plant. I ate it up. And like 15 feet away, maybe less, was this cut of Big Sur holy weed, and it would get a little spot and just shake it off, and the fucking mold wouldn't spread. And that motherfucker charged through the season. It had this amazing fucking, like, slightly floral but stinky mothballs, curl your nose hair shit to it. That, oh man, I miss that fucking plant. Great outdoors, really unique smell to it, and it was big. I mean, it was a big fucking plant, big happy motherfucker. Yeah, I have from Coastal Seeds. I still got a pack of that Big Sur. There's a pack or two of that Big Sur holy weed left, I think, in the stash. Maybe I'll have to crack into those sometime in the near future and hope and pray that we find another mothball motherfucker, because, man, that was really cool.
Yeah, my garden's coming into fruition now. It's nice. Everything up there is just a smelling. It's good. Favorite time of year.
So next week you're going to be back with us hanging out with Endo Farms.
Endo Farms, that's correct. That's correct. A little birthday bash with Endo and find out what he's up to. And he and I got to chatting a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, you should come on and chit chat with the boys. We talk about all things gardening and, all things gardening and more. So it should be a good time.
I'm excited for this one. I get excited every time we have someone new on, and anytime we have anyone on, really. But this is, I was already chatting him up a bit today. I was kind of misunderstood the messaging from you, and I thought he was coming on tonight. And it's been just busy as freaking hell these last couple days. So it's like, I just like kind of all of a sudden, oh shit, that's right, it's show night tonight, and sending him like the apology message, kind of like, sorry, dude, normally I would have got a hold of you a couple days ago, kind of tell you what's up and all that. He's like, I got like the 24th like penciled in. I'm like, kind of, that's right. I did say the 17th, 24th, didn't I? He did say he had like 2 shows right. I was like, okay, fuck. I was like, okay, let's like, well, maybe I'm an idiot here. I might have to get back to you on that one. Get a hold of Jimmy and see. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So it happens when you like to smoke a lot of weed, I guess. Get that.
Yeah, shit happens, man. That's cool.
He had a good laugh about it. So excited to be here and hang out with him next week.
Yeah, he's stoked, man. He was excited. He was very very excited to get him come on and chit chat and yeah, we'll see if we can't, if you guys got open spots, we'll see if we can't line a couple more up into harvest season. And
that sounds like a great idea. It's actually good timing because it's right about that time where I a lot of times I'll try and line up a couple months worth of guests in a row. And now that we're at the end of summer, where, to be 100% honest, summer vacation, man. Just like the kids, just sort of take the summer offish, but now it's back to work, so to speak,
right.
And start to load up the schedule.
Right on, man. Right on. Wow. I got a bunch of people that we can, chit chat with. So anytime, if we can kind of keep the. Tuesday's generally pretty good for me. You guys got a show going on, so I'm happy to stop by and grateful that you guys have me on. And yeah, we'll bring some fresh faces in, some new people to chit chat with.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. Sounds like a great time. Cheers, Red. I was reading this one banana farmer. I see there not another Aussie there. Cheers, but calling it hooga because it makes you cough. Yeah, smoking. That's a great one. It's usually, we got our weed strains are named after something. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what like a terp profile or a lineage or something like that. But no, this shit's gonna make you forget, choke and gag and puke. So hooga, love it.
Yeah, I got to see if I can get on the horn with Roseville here. He's growing out a few this year. He's got the lemon tie going, the blue scream V2 going. That's the shed plant, and then he's got one of the roots, which is Nigerian by Cola Root Beer, And he's got a nice fucking. I think he's got a couple of ball gag going too. The Jeezel by Whisker Biscuit,
Nice.
and they're just out there raging in the California sun, man, just going crazy. So, maybe we get him to pop. He's been busy, fucking back and forth working. He's taking care of his mom. Came home from the nursing home type deal. So, hopefully we can get him squared away and get him to pop on again too before the summer's over. Because I want him to chitty chat about what he's got going on over there, what he's seeing, and all that kind of good stuff. So
Yeah, I'd be 100% down for that. Roseville's cool as shit, man.
yeah, he's a good shit. And he's got
Saw him in the chat earlier. It's like when you were talking about that plant at the beginning of the show, he was in chat like a minute later, so making it say, like, oh, it's bigger than that.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, thanks again for having me on, guys. I'm gonna bounce out and give him a call, see if he's still can. And thanks again for having me on, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Sounds good, brother. We'll be here.
Yeah. Take care, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, man. You have a great week. Talk to you next Tuesday.
Thanks.
All right. Always a good time there. You're gonna love having that dude around. And it's cool that I actually got some of his genetics now, because that's like what, the third, fourth time we've had that dude on now. And I've wanted to have his genetics. GB, I'm looking at his genetics right here that I've got to go out to you. And you know what is actually cool that I found? I found one of those mail it boxes today. That's like just folded up, was sitting there ready to use. So I've even got free postage to you. So it's not free. I already paid for it and then forgot about it, but I count that as free.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. So we'll be able to get those out to you hopefully soon here too. With the along with the Hunter Valley crosses and all that other good stuff. Fuck yeah.
Hunter Valley.
You know, this is there's an interesting fucking discussion there in chat, and I would love to get a bunch of outdoor growers out here, and even fucking some people who can actually give some answers, because it's an interesting thing, right? Talking about like the septoria, what to do to get rid of it. There's things like the having out competing it in the root zones. I know Red said something in there about like brassicas, things like that. But anyway, just saying things like the picking the leaves off and things, right? They say the same thing for powdery mildew too. But what about your buds? If it affects the leaf, it's probably affecting the bud also. So, how are you checking to see if the septoria is in your bud? If you're taking it off your leaves, it's probably in your bud. So, is this one of those where how does septoria affect human consumption in any which way, shape, or form, right? Like, is that a thing that affects consumption? Is it just a piss off to you? It's just something that affects the plant, no big deal to fucking humans, one of those type things. I haven't looked enough into what the fuck the septoria means for the smokability of like the flowers. But I pretty much, when I see it, it just fucking, the plant pretty much goes bye-bye. It's just all there is to it. It's kind of how I deal with it. So, and wondering that, I'd like to hear a lot more perspectives, what people what they do with it, how they deal with it.
Is this the kind of thing your sister would know about?
I don't know. I should probably fucking call her and ask.
Well, like, we just drag her on here one time and then like just spring it on her unexpectedly.
Okay. Yeah. Fucking, I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, like when I wake up, it'll be like really early her time. So that'll be perfect. I'll spring it on her then. I'd be like, you're set up for fucking 3 weeks from Tuesday. By the way,
I don't even know what day of the month that is. Just 3 weeks. Get your shit.
yeah, just be fucking ready. I'll fucking send you a link. Don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah, that is something that actually it would be. But when it comes to testing things like that, it'd be interesting. Is that how does that show up in the testing for the labs for the cannabis and things like that, for the dispensaries, for the med flowers, things like that, right? With all the microbial testing and all the other shit they have, is that one of those that show up? Is that something they're worried about? I know they were worried about powdery mildew, and right, I get that. And actually, I guess there's even fucking debates on whether or not that's a fucking worry either. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna. This is medicine, and I'm gonna treat it that way. So if it's fucking contaminated in my eyes, it goes bye-bye. But I definitely can see, like, back in the day, my early smoking days, and especially like when I was working in the field and shit and fucking welding every day. That would have been the least of the fucking worries of the things I'd have been putting in my body on a daily basis. So I don't think I would have been worried too much about it back then. So just one of those, things that I've been thinking about as you get more talks about it throughout the season,
Yeah, I thought I had a beat indoors. It doesn't look like I do. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not fighting it. I gotta tear the tents down. So. But we're fucking outdoors coming. Weeks away.
Right.
Now.
We got next week's guest in the chat here. Yeah, we're looking forward to this one at No Farm, so it's going to be a great one. So, yeah, everyone come on back. When we know we're same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be here next week. It's going to be a great conversation. Jimmy's going to come back for another one. Always great times. It does look like we are at the end of the night, though. Time to start wrapping things up. Cheers, Red. Great to see you. Nut Tree, I saw you in there as well. Anyone I've forgotten about? Didn't mean to forget about you. Try to say hi to everyone. Agnes, cheers. I don't think I said hi to you. J5420, Jess and Bean, great to see you. Looks like you're going to be growing some of Fluff's beans here real soon. I saw that conversation in the chat. I don't believe for even a second that you'll be disappointed with what you're going to find. It doesn't. I just don't believe it. Everyone that's grown his stuff out has absolutely loved it thus far, and I see no reason why you won't the same. Cheers.
My BAMs are gigantic.
Speaking of, if Jess and Bean is still in there, hit up the chat. Send me the address so I can get those out to you.
Oh, yeah. Ned Denver, cheers. Sheldon, cheers. Trying to make sure I hit everyone before we split out of here, but as always, you know what time it is. We're going to bless your souls. Just a little bit of rock and roll and get the F out. Talk to y'all later.
Take me down to the graveyard, show me a resting place. Take this worry away from me, my final bed to lay. I need asylum.
Here's Victoria Lee. Here's Galaxy. Better late than never, brother. Glad you can make it. Dude, you know what I realized like about 15 minutes ago? I think I'm getting like a zit, like right at the base of the nose right there. Because you know, like when it just starts to swell up just a bit, but then you touch it and your eyes like immediately start to water because you're like, oh, fuck my life. That stings. It's like that. I like try to fuck with it, you know, and it's just like, ow. I'm going to wake up with a big fucking honker like that underneath my nose. It's going to be fucking terrible in the